I want to bring in Boris Epshteyn right now. He's the senior advisor to the Trump campaign, and Kristen Soltis Anderson, a GOP pollster and Washington Examiner columnist. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us. Kristen, let me kick it off with you. Donald Trump has been using the line, follow the money. It's red meat for the base. We know that. Does it resonate with undecided voters?
What's fascinating about this argument is that it's a much more populist argument than we normally hear from Republicans. Usually the political debate winds up with Democrats accusing Republicans of being in the pocket of big business and all of that, and Trump has flipped that on its head. I think that's part of why when Trump goes up against Hillary Clinton on the issues, the economy is the issue where they tend to be tied in the polls, where voters are equally as likely to say they trust Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So I think this is a strong message for him. The question is, does Hillary Clinton's counter by making the case that Donald Trump's not actually a populist and not actually a real champion of the people, does that wind up sort of making it all a wash in the end?
Yeah, that's what she has to do, Boris Epshteyn. And the fact is he's got a good economic message, right, but he keeps taking the bait and being forced to explain things like what he's explaining right now, his business and personal attacks from Hillary Clinton.
Well, that attack from Hillary Clinton is just another example of the Clintons acting like the American people are stupid. Of course, a real estate magnate, somebody who's a developer, will buy low and sell high, and that's all he was saying, right? And that's real estate 101. All of us know that. That's just completely basic information. The American people are smarter than to buy that crooked argument from a crooked candidate. And as far as follow the money goes, it's true. Yeah. So out of the $22 million given in speaking fees, over half of that lobbied the government. Over a third received government contracts from the government while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State.
He had a tricky debate performance. It was a little rough toward the end. But he can't get out of his own way. He's tweeting in the middle of the night tonight. He was up at 3:25 a.m. tweeting the following, and this is legitimate. Anytime you see a story about me or my campaign saying sources said, do not believe it, there are no sources, they're just made up lies. But then he brings up Miss Universe again and again. Wow, crooked Hillary was duped and used by my worst Miss U. Hillary floated her as a, quote, angel without checking her past, which is terrible. And he keeps on.
That's just the truth.
Drop it. Drop it. It doesn't help him, Boris. How does that help him?
Well, listen, he is somebody who's authentic, who's real, who's not scripted, not robotic. So what he's doing there is he's answering based on his own background. He's got the right to defend himself.
Not what the American people want to hear about.
Well, what they
want to hear about his economic plan. They want to hear about what he's going to do for national security. Why can't he stay on message?
And that's what they'll hear, the speeches. That's what they'll hear. He's somebody who's able to defend himself. And it's true. Hillary Clinton did get duped by this person. If you look at her background, it's all out there. And
she didn't get duped. She brought it out. She said, bring it on. Give me all the info you can give me. What's duped?
You think she knew about Miss Yu's background? I'm not going to get into it. But it's a simple Google search.
The fact that we're sitting here talking about it and Donald Trump is tweeting about it in the middle of the night shows he's off message.
Right.
Or it just shows that he's defending himself.
He's high energy, middle of the night, right?
That's what I'm talking about. What is she doing? She's probably taking a long sleep.
Well, here's what I'm wondering if Kristen is still there. He seems to have a challenge here, trying to bring home to the Republican Party those normally Republican suburban voters. What I heard Monday night was we mentioned populism, anti-trade. Didn't hear much about the tax reforms. Does that populist message, anti-trade, anti-Wall Street, anti-special interest, is that working with those Republicans that he needs in the suburbs that have been reluctant to join him?
Well, it certainly carves up the Republican coalition in a new way, a way that was beneficial to him in the primaries, but he's got to bring everybody back together if he really wants a shot in the general. And a challenge that he's going to have is that when you survey voters and you ask them, are you anxious about the idea of Hillary Clinton being president? Are you anxious about the idea of Donald Trump being president? There are a lot of these voters that are anxious about both of them. On the one hand, Hillary Clinton, they're anxious that she might not keep us safe, that she represents no change or bad change. On the other hand, does Donald Trump perhaps represent too much change? I'm not sure that in the debate on Monday night he addressed enough of those concerns for folks that are anxious about the future overall. They know that we need some change, but is Donald Trump perhaps too dramatic a change, and does he not necessarily have the concrete economic plan they need to get their own careers and lives back on track?
Here's a number that we should keep in mind. 70%. 70% of Americans want change, and 70% of Americans don't trust Hillary Clinton. It's literally the same number within a couple of points. What does that tell you? That she is somebody who's been around for so long, almost 40 years in the public limelight, has not really done anything in her career, failed the D.C. bar, was an inconsequential senator, right? There were only 3 bills passed. One was highway, another one was post office, one was a land preserve, and then an awful Secretary of State. He represents real change. Plus, you know, she's talking about his career. She lied about the server she set up, and that server endangered America. We should never stop talking about the fact
well,
that
you don't have to tell us. You got to tell Donald Trump.
Well, I'm telling everybody. I'm telling the American people, right?
Yeah.
Everybody who's watching. They need to remember that this is a person who failed the commander-in-chief test. She failed the test because while she was Secretary of State, she set up a private server which allowed for foreign entities and unfriendly entities to gain access to our most classified, most confidential
Boris, you need to get on the bat phone right now and tell him to stop tweeting.
Yeah.
Listen, he's who he is, and that's
But is there something you can do for him beyond going on shows and being a surrogate to actually resonate with him that he's talking about things that the American people don't want him to talk about? And certainly his supporters. There's a whole group of supporters out there who want to make a bet on change, want to take the risk on Donald Trump. But he keeps taking himself out of message.
Just the way he's defending himself, he'll defend our country when he's president. He's not going to stand up to people bullying our country the way Hillary Clinton is trying to bully him. And that's exactly what she's trying to do with these completely worthless stories from the past.
All right, we'll leave it there. Boris
All right,
Epshteyn,
so
Kristen, Soltis, Anderson, good to see you both. Thank you very much.